Hello, welcome to this week's edition of the WCS Coaches Preview Show. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with me today is Tate Mathews, and with us is Coach Charles Rathbone, head coach of the Page Patriots. Big matchup tonight. Not just a big matchup. This is for all the marbles against Marshall County. Coach Rathbone. Coach Rathbone, you're sitting at 6-2 right now overall, 4-0 in the region. Marshall County 8-1, 4-0 in the region. Something that I love to do is find those nuggets, those pieces of data, and somehow, Tate, we have let this slide through all the way. I'm sure the Page Booster Club knows that we've let this slide through, and I love your group. We'll talk about them in just a moment. But you've got two losses, one to Forest, who's 9-0, ranked in the top 10, 21-14. Fairview is the other loss, 9-0, ranked number 2 in the mid-state right now, 13-10 in small schools. Combined loss 10 points to two teams that are ranked. Now we've gone
undefeated.
Undefeated. We've gone through this show. We've talked about Page, and it just never hit me that maybe we have undersold the Patriots. Man, we can't undersell. Vincent Hall would be tore up with us right now, Tate. But right now, two combined losses, 10 points to two ranked undefeated teams.
Personally, I like being undersold.
Okay.
Lower the expectations. Our kids play up to that, and those two losses. Every coach has those losses that you remember. And I tell my kids, back in the playing days, I don't remember the wins. I remember the losses, and I remember what I could have done better on a certain play or a certain series. And that's kind of what's haunted us all year was those two losses. We felt like we should have won the game. We felt like we were the better team. But those two teams came out and played well and executed and just beat us. There's no other way of putting it. They beat us, and that still hurts us to this day. But luckily we were able to turn the season around and have a pretty good season.
Well, you get to look at that Fairview game. Last-second dramatics on behalf of Summit. Samaglia, your kicker, came out, and kicked a 40 a bomb, and it was a beautiful kick. Then Fairview turned around and did the same thing with time expiring. The Forest game, close game there. But you've had some huge wins. Giles County, 38-35. The BGA revenge loss from last year, 45-7. You've run off 5 straight, won 6 of the last 7. Man, this has been something for you. And let me just tell you, Patriot Country, we have undersold the Pats, and we're sorry, but with your guidance right there, we're going to keep underselling you for your benefit because I'm superstitious and I want you to do well. So we're going to keep doing that. But you've gotten this thing going, man. You're young. Behind Van Landingham, Bubba Johnson right now. He's a freshman. He's carrying the load for you right now. He's toting the mail. I don't know what his total yardage is, but he has had an excellent year. So let's start off talking because this is your first coaching show that we've done this year. Let's talk about some spotlights of your players right now. Who's playing well for you? I know we're in the last week, so kind of give us a recap of what's happened with your kids so far.
Well, I tell you, we started out and we had just an abnormal amount of injuries, and we lost 2 starting linemen for the year early on, and these guys had to figure out how to win. And we preached from all the way back in the summer, learn how to play fast. But some of the guys have really led the way. Cruz Kerrigan at safety, he's leading the district in tackles, and that's not always a good thing when your safety is leading the district in tackles. But he's making plays at the line of scrimmage, and Daniel Calicote and Josh Kramer. But I think, next week when we meet for the region awards, I'm going to really push Chris Dahl. I think he's the Defensive Player of the Year in our region. He has absolutely dominated both sides of the ball at defensive tackle. He has shut down, him and Jonathan Harris have shut down the run game of other teams. And those guys have really led the way. Offensively, we got Andrew Meckler, who's having a big year, Will Pierce, and Van Landingham and Bub, everybody talks about, but really the offensive line has just played outstanding. And we really haven't been whipped up front yet, knock on wood. But we have played very well up front and in the trenches and been able to run the ball and slow things down for our quarterbacks. And that seems to be a key to success for us.
You mentioned Dahl. When I look at the stats every week, he's playing defensive tackle and he's got 8 tackles, 9 tackles, 10 tackles, 7 tackles. You don't see that very much. That speaks to you can dominate from the defensive tackle position and have 1 or 2 tackles.
Yeah.
When you're getting 9 tackles, that's impressive.
Yeah, if you go back and watch BGA film, him and Jonathan Harris just took over that game. They had pressure on the quarterback all night long. They couldn't be blocked. So, yeah, Dahl's been absolutely great this year, beyond expectation.
You mentioned your offense. The thing I think is very impressive. you have the Forest loss. You come back and you beat Lawrence County, a game you felt like you should win, right?
Right.
And then since then, though, 45 points BGA, 59 points against Tullahoma, 38 and 38 against Giles and White House. Obviously, the offense is clicking. I think that goes back. You were talking about that Fairview loss. I think sometimes an early season loss is sometimes a good thing.
Right.
You saw it right there in that game. You had things open, and you could see where there were some bright spots, but they just weren't all on the same page yet. Brand new quarterback. At what point in the season did you know, hey, man, we got a quarterback and we got an offense that can be very potent?
Well, we feel like after the Lawrence County game, we feel like we didn't play very well in Lawrence County, and we still won, which is always a good thing. So that week we came in, we decided we're going to slow everything down. We're going to cut all the things that we like to do that we feel like are advanced. We're going to cut those out, and we're going to simplify our offense and really focus on simple reads, 1 or 2 step reads, and you know, we got Vandy. You know, he takes that first read, that second read. If it's not there, pull it down and run, because he's a heck of a runner. He's a great runner, probably our best running back. But you know, and I think ever since we did that with our complete offense, I think it's really blossomed, and the kids have picked that up, and now we're starting to be able to add more and more to it on a weekly basis.
Well, with the losses last year, think about it. I mean, you had one of the best quarterbacks in all of WCS. Michael Magochi is a great quarterback, great leader, big kid. Robertson is another great leader, verbal leader. You lose those guys, pretty much the bulk of your offense. I mean, think about it. Your main offensive numbers producing people, and then you replace them with guys, Van Landingham, Bubba Johnson, who has not even taken a snap on the high school level, and to think that you're putting up the amount of points that you're putting up right now, that's something to say about your team.
Yeah, and you know, and the freshman team was really good. You know, we got some young guys coming up in the future. You know, but it still takes just that chemistry of blending together and forming that bond and that chemistry on the team, and I think it took a few weeks to do that, and now they seem to have it. You know, they don't want it to end, and you know, that's a special thing. Well,
belief is, you know, if your kids ever believe that they can win, that's probably the most important aspect of all the game, and then comes the other pieces. But you know, your team is playing extremely well right now. This game coming into Marshall County. Let's go back. I want to go back for just a minute. First game of the year, Battle of 840. I know we discussed this 1,000 times beforehand, but is that game? Is it that important to your kids coming in? Because I know you're talking about y'all circle that game on your calendar coming in through the summer, looking to win that game, and it has zero implications as far as bragging rights. I mean, as far as regional standings, it's all for bragging rights. So with that, you could have easily, after that loss, 13-10, you know, thinking of the way that you lost in that game in dramatic fashion for Fairview side, that could have easily dictated the way your season went.
Well, you know, I think that game, it is important because it's the first game, and that's kind of the way that we approach it. And I think that's the way Coach Hughes approaches it. Our kids and Fairview kids never really, they don't know each other. It's like playing any other team. You know, it's not like we're playing guys that we grew up with and playing the same rec ball with. It's important because it's the first game. And it's important because it is a Williamson County rival game.
Right.
It's not so much that the kids know each other. So, I mean, in that aspect, it is very important. But our kids know that no matter what happens in any game, we're going to line up next week and we're going to do our best. And that's been probably the best legacy that these kids could leave, that they never let one game defeat them. They never let one play defeat them. They always line up and go right back at it the next play.
Well, let's think about it. You've been comeback kids in 2 games. One is the second game of the year, Spring Hill. Very athletic team. To me, this is a very high-quality win for you guys. They just come off the win of beating Summit, and you're sitting there and you beat them 26-25. Once again, I'm not playing negative hypotheticals, but that goes to show the fortitude of your team. You lose that game, now you start off 0-2. You play Forest, who's, you know, sitting highly ranked in the top 10, undefeated right now. That could have easily been 0-3, and then you sit here staring a long season in his face. But you get that win. You play a close game of Forest, and then you run off 5 straight wins. I mean, that's just, you know, the mental aspect right there of that, and the way you right the ship is you to be committed, your coaching staff to be committed, and your kids are as well. Another aspect of this is the support that you have. We mentioned this group numerous times, the Patriot Country and your Booster Club. Fantastic people. They create a great atmosphere for you. Your kids are doing a phenomenal job. Dr. Panthal, all that about it. Can you speak on behalf of all that right there, what that has done for your season?
Well, as far as the parent support, I mean, I'm just blessed that we got the parents that we have. I mean, they come out, they paint the field. Anything we ask for, we get, and they're there to support us, win or lose. we don't have a whole lot of negativity in our losses, you know, as far as parent complaints and stuff like that. They're there for the kids, to support the kids, and they do a great job when they are around us, and it's just I'm just proud of them so much that they have that kind of attitude, that they realize what's important, that becoming a man and learning life lessons is much more important than winning a football game. Dr. Pantal, you know, I loved Dr. Anthony when she was here. And Dr. Pantal's just taking that kind of to a new level. You know, he's brought the importance back in athletics.
He's competitive a little bit, right?
He loves to win. You know, and he hates to
football.
yeah. Now the Fairview game, it means a lot to him. So I mean, I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard from her too. So
well, and he, you know, I think we forgot to even mention this during that week. He held his end of the bargain. He had a small wager with Coach Hughes' daughter that if Paige lost, he would wear a Fairview jersey to her over at the Fairview Elementary School and eat lunch with her. And he held his end of the bargain. I have to give it to him. But, yes, he has ramped up the competitiveness of Page High School, which is a great thing for you and your athletes out there as a whole. You are athletic director as well, and you'll see that blossom out into everything that y'all do. I know that he's gotten the clubs interested in picking up other things, other options for kids to do outside of the TWSAA sports. But, you know, Vincent Ha, I have to give a shout out to our man Vincent Victories, man. What he's done with the student body there. Their student body is at Page is one of the best. We have the best student bodies across the state, bar none, with all of them. But I mean, the Page group is at every game. They have their themes. It looks great.
Huge student body last week.
And I'm assuming that
Down there?
I'm assuming that
At
tonight
White House
will be no different, if not the biggest, probably the biggest crowd that you'll have outside of the 840 game, and it may supersede that. I don't know. It'd be, I mean, what do you think? I mean, the crowd will be.
Well,
I mean, it's for the region championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interest. You know, before 104.5's called, the helicopters coming from Channel 4, and you know, but we just got to tell our kids, you know, where were all these guys when we were sitting there at 1 and 2? Where was everybody at? It was just us, and that's what it's going to be Friday night or tonight when we line up on the field. It's going to be us against them, and there's not going to be, you know. There's not going to be any of this other stuff out there to help us. We got to take care of each other and play hard and execute.
Well, and I think there's a lot of interest outside of just the two schools and Williamson County. I mean, everybody has said from the beginning of the year, you know, Marshall County, can they make it? You know, is this the year they can make it to the state championship game? And I think a lot of people have had them circled here. And here we are in week 11, excuse me, playing for the region championship, and you all have just as good of a chance. And we've talked about it on other shows. You know, we're not in the excuse-making business, but every year, this is the first time I can remember in a long time where you all are healthy. And so I'm excited about that. We got you're going to be able to go at them, for the most part, full bullets, and they're going to come at you with full bullets. It's going to be an exciting game. There's a lot of firepower on the field tonight on both sides.
Right, and, you know, the best team's going to win. You know, no excuses. You know, I expect our guys to play well and compete, and at the end, I expect us to win, you know, but ultimately we got to stay on that. And, you know, I felt like last year we put all this on this Marshall County game and we got beat, and then we never got back up for the playoffs. So that's my job, is to make sure we get back up next week, win or lose.
Well, all the media and all the folks that make all the predictions out there, the Nostradamuses of the group, have not given you too much love probably in this game tonight, and I find that funny. But you're not alone. Because every week I watch that stuff. It drives me nuts. WCS, where are all our schools ranked? What do they have us? Right now, we are sitting 44-8 collectively. And you're part of that, obviously. If you add the Nolensville schedule, which you really can't do, we're 52-9 overall. But for whatever reason, we keep getting teams, you know, they pick against us, and we still keep winning. So tonight is no different. I need you to get that win for us and show them. And I know that you want it. But I tell you what we'll do. I want to talk real quick before we go to break. I want to talk about the pick six. This is something that you don't see, folks, hardly at all, if ever. Probably the most famous kick six in history was the Auburn-Alabama game. But Cruz Kerrigan, we talked about him earlier. Walk us through what happened right here on the kick six against Giles County.
Well,
at the Brickyard.
Right.
At the Brickyard.
There's about 5 seconds to go in the half. And they're going to try to get a cheap field goal. Well, not a cheap field goal, but they earned it. And, you know, about a 43-yard field goal, and they kick it. We got our guy back deep that's going to, just in case he muffs it.
What's the chance of this even happening, though?
Well, it shouldn't be very little chance. He should get it to the end zone.
I mean, this
But,
is a chip
you know,
shot. It's like a sandwich. It's like he's trying to down it on the one.
See Cruz do a good job of keeping it inbounds or in the field of play. That was a key block there that
Yes.
our guy didn't just decleat him, or they could have caught a flag behind the play.
I
That
love
was-
seeing
that
your
was
guys
very
get
well
down the
disciplined.
field, man. They're trying to get those blocks in. They're trying to help him out.
You know, it was an exciting play. It really
What was the score at this time?
21-7, made it 21-14.
I mean, that gives you an opportunity to get going into the momentum into the halftime, to come back out. You win the game. The final score was 38-35. If that doesn't happen, I mean, your chances of the comeback could be slim to none, right?
Yeah, but we still would have found a way to win the game.
Okay, that's what I like to hear. All right. When we come back from
Good
break,
answer.
we'll look at some more clips, and we'll also talk about the Marshall County game. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Coach's Preview Show. Coach Rathbone of Page High School. Coach Rathbone, you beat White House last week in Week 10, 38-20. Had a great, a big offensive burst right here from Bubba Johnson, 66-yard touchdown. Take us through it real quick.
Well, basically, it's just a simple lead play up the middle that our line blocks extremely well, and he just takes it to the house. He outruns everybody on the field.
You know, Tate talks about him every week, freshman,
Yeah.
out there doing these things, man. The future is bright for him.
We sure hope so. You know, we got to have a line in front of him, though. So, just a different view.
Sure, yeah, I like the tight.
Usually, people don't get to see this view. You see the blocking schemes real well.
All right, so when you say lead, rewind that real quick. Explain to the people back home what your objective is right here in this particular play.
So
with the
our lead in a spread, we'll pull this guard around. He should have been hitting this hole over here, to be honest with you. But this hole comes wide open, so he's really got two choices. He scores either way. So our lead is really a fold block. We're going to block back here, fold here, and he should be hitting it over here.
And he's blocking on the linebacker right there.
Yep. So
Yep.
you see the hole right there.
And he makes
And
a,
then-
28 over
makes a
the
little
Yeah.
Mathews.
makes a little cut
You
back.
see that guy we're pursuing, he cuts back, and he just pretty much goes untouched.
Man, he's got some wheels.
They had those two cornerbacks rolled up, had the two safeties split.
Yeah, they played cover two on us just about all
and
night.
I guess you're knowing if he can get to the second level, he split them both. And
Well, they
didn't
got
have a chance.
Yeah, 6 on 6. You know, they got 6 in the box with those 4 down linemen and 2 linebackers. We got our 5 linemen and our running back. So he makes one miss and he takes it, which is, what we asked him to do for the most part.
He seems, I don't know if he got lucky on, you mentioned he hit the wrong hole, but he seems like he does. I mean, the kid's, he don't play like a freshman, but throw out the speed. He seems like he's got really good awareness and vision. Did he see that and he hit it, or did he get lucky?
Well, it depends
A
on
little
if
bit
you
of
ask
both.
him or if you ask me. If you ask me, you got lucky. If you ask him,
It's
he
like
saw
I
it
saw
in
it the
you
whole
know?
way, man. Come on, Coach.
Bottom line is he made a play.
But he's a very hard-nosed kid. I mean, he will flat out punish you when you step up, especially those secondary guys, they'll step up and try to lay a hit on him, and he'll lower the shoulder. And he's unlike any freshman we've had in that aspect, that he can really lay a punch on you.
All right, let's get to it. Big night, region championship game, Marshall County. What can we expect from Coach Olstein and the Marshall County Tigers?
You're going to see a lot of speed. They got 2 receivers that's probably we go to a lot of 7-on-7 during the summer, and these 2 receivers probably the best receivers we've seen anywhere around. Now, of course, I haven't seen everybody, but, I mean, as far as catching the ball, making plays, and as far as a little wiggle, and just running the ball, they're tremendous. They got a young quarterback. He's sophomore. He's Bo Wallace's brother. Of course, I'm sure he's getting tired of hearing that by now. Bo Wallace is coaching him. If you don't know, he's the one that played at Ole Miss. He throws the ball really well. He's elusive. He's able to buy time. And then they got the running back, number 6, I think is his number. Big physical back. They got the kid that transferred up from Fayetteville, number 2, who's committed. He had an offer from Virginia Tech. He chose to go to MTSU. So, they're a fast, physical football team that execute. Coach Osteen does a great job in getting his system in and what he has them do. So you're going to see them getting the ball to their athletes in space, and it's going to come down to whether or not we can tackle their athletes.
And I'm glad that those 2 that you mentioned specifically are eligible to play for them. And I always like to get a jab in. And you know my Marshall County history, right? So I was a head coach down there. That's my first head coaching job at Marshall County. So those guys I know well, Coach Osteen came in after the fact, but athletic director. Tate?
Well, yeah, you mentioned that they've got Trey Crutcher and Jay Howard, two of the best wide receivers. Not only are they athletic guys, speed guys, they run really good routes.
Right.
I mean, they're well coached. And the thing that you kind of see two different things. They can line up in doubles and play really fast. And then they can also huddle up and they'll run the ball at you and kind of pound it at you. Do you expect to see both tonight? I mean,
I think he's like most coaches. They want to run the ball, and we got to shut down the run. And if we can do that and force them to throw the screens, and that's where you see most of their success on film is they do run the ball pretty well. But man, when they get it out in space in the hands of Crutcher and those guys, and the thing they don't get enough credit for, they're really good blockers. But when they get them out on those screen plays and things like that, it's hard. They're hard to get on the ground.
So how do you prevent that?
Well,
how do you attempt to prevent that? I know, obviously, if we're drawing up on a whiteboard right now, what do you look at to try to take away the screen pass and get the open space?
Well, we may be crazy, but we're going to walk our guys up a little bit more and force them to throw the ball over the top. You know, we think for a high school kid to throw the fade routes and to execute a lot of those fade routes, it's hard to do. So, you know, we're going to have our guys up jamming the inside receivers and trying to shut down the screen passes with that and force everything back in kind of like a funnel.
So Wallace is not Magochi, because Magochi could make that play, right?
he's pretty good.
He was pretty good.
Well, we're banking that we're going to be able to hit Wallace before he can make that play.
I don't disagree with you. I think, you know, that philosophy of making a kid make a play. I mean, let's take it back. I want to revert back to my basketball days for just a second. There was a few special players, Tyler Smith being one of them, played at UT at Giles County. You could make him make a play or take a chance and say, I'm going to make him do that, and he could do that. But the majority of the kids, to make them do something special like you're talking about, if your guys, that secondary can handle their business, we'll roll the dice and see what happens.
Right. So, I mean, it's either we give a screen to Crutcher and those guys in space and we got to tackle them in space, or we force the quarterback, who's a sophomore, throw a perfect ball over top of us, and you know, we can adjust. If it doesn't work, we'll adjust.
What is your ratio right now on offensive side? Last year, you were kind of probably, would I dare say, pass heavy with Magochi back there. You like to pass the ball. You felt comfortable passing the ball. Right now, ratio pass to run, and what do you expect Marshall County to do to counter that defensively?
Well, right now, to be honest, we run the ball about 60% of the time, which was about what we did last year. You know, last week we threw 12, 15 passes. Giles County, we threw 18 to 20 passes, I believe. We're just we're hitting them at the right times, and so we're going to try to run the ball. That's what we want to do. We want to run the ball. We want to get the ball to our guys in space, just like Marshall County. It's very mirror teams, and I think Marshall County will run they like to show a cover 4 look and roll the corner down to stop the screen, and then roll the safety over into a cover 3. And I think that's what they're going to be doing. That's what they did last year. We had some success against it. Everybody, you know, Stratford and some of those guys, they try to attack them over the top or underneath. We think we can hit them in the middle of the field, you know, kind of that mid-range passing game. We had some success on last year, and we go back and watch last year's film. They were running wide open. So we're hoping that's going to be our strength, and we'll be able to hit those plays this year.
Well, and like you mentioned, you all like to run the ball. You're 60% run, and they more than likely, unless they do something different, they're going to show up in a 4-2-5. The best thing that can happen for you is so they're going to have 6 in the box, 5 DBs. If they can't stop that run with 6, then they're going to have to bring one of them up.
Right.
And that's what you want to see.
Right.
Make them put somebody else in the box.
Now, will you attack that with Van Lamingham, more of an option look, bootleg? I mean, what are you going to do to try to get outside of Bubba Johnson running the lead play or those sweeps? What are you going to try to do to get that?
Well, our screen game is part of our run game. So, you know, if we throw our screens in there, then you're looking at maybe a 50-50 type game. Or I'm sorry, a 70-30 run to pass ratio. So we'll do those type things. We'll roll him out on a bootleg, and we'll call some quarterback draw type stuff, and just let Vandy be an athlete and set the edge and hopefully get him on the edge. So there's a lot of different things we could do with him. We're really confident that we'll be able to put some points on them. They've given up 29 points all year long to 4A or to our district. So we think we could score on them. It's about whether or not we can stop their athletes, and that's going to be the telltale of the game.
Now, Marshall County, if I'm not mistaken, and let me know if I'm wrong here, they have an exceptional kicker as well. And
right.
The word on the street from my in-laws who still live down there and everybody else is that he's better than the kid at UT right now. I've gone blank. That's kicking right
The
now.
kicker for you, Medley.
Yes, Aaron Medley. That's what the word on the street is. Now, you've got a weapon of your own, Samaglia. Now, what does he bring to the game here? What do you expect him? Can he flip the fields? Can we use those special team? Is that going to be a huge play in tonight's game?
Well, I hope they get an opportunity to showcase their kicker and kick a lot of field goals.
Yeah.
Personally, we want to score the touchdowns, but their kicker is good. When he gives them the same thing Samaglia gives us. We're going to start at the 20-yard line, and we're going to have to drive the field, length of the field. So, it's very mirror. I remember Medley. I remember going down there, and I remember him kicking those field goals from our 40. In warm-ups, 60, 65-yard field goals. He had a strong leg.
It's a big statement, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't seen that from this kid. Maybe he is, maybe he has. I just haven't seen it.
I'm going to say that I'm proud of Medley. I actually had him as a student, and he was probably one of the most non-athletic kids you've ever seen that completely changed everything that you could think about a kid at that age. Of course, he was young, and I can remember to this day watching him thinking, and people telling me this kid is unbelievable. And then, like you said, I watched him through warm-ups. He would try to hit the pole on purpose on one side, try to hit the pole on purpose on the other side, and then kick it plumb through. I mean, it's just amazing to watch him go through warm-ups. So for them to say that this kid is that good, I find it hard to believe. I have to see it. I've seen Samaglia, particularly right now, that kick sticks out of my mind at the end of the fourth quarter, close to the end of the fourth quarter, that he kicked for you guys to it was just amazing to watch the height and the distance that he has on it. So he is a weapon that I hope, like you said, that maybe you won't have to use except for extra points.
Right.
But in the field position game.
The thing that's so great about him, especially in this game, is Howard and Crutcher are two of the best return guys in the state.
Right.
Any division. He takes them away by kicking it to the. That you can't put a price tag on that.
I mean, at halftime we could have a kicking showcase if they want, or do something like that, and see who's really the best. But
I like Coach Rathbone today. He's got a little edge to him. I like it. Well, 7 o'clock tonight at Page. The Patriot Country will be wild. You better get there early and get your tickets on Prep Tix. If you don't have a ticket already, avoid those lines, because and I know the Marshall County faithful will travel.
Oh yeah, they're going to be here, and they're going to be loud and proud like they should be, and we're going to match that intensity, and it's going to be a great environment.
Well, it's going to be awesome. Playoff picture: Chattanooga Central, East Hamilton goes up in the air tonight with tonight's win or loss. Either way. What's your thoughts on that? I know we don't like to look forward, but we're going to have to at this point in time of the year, because you know that you got a home playoff game. What's the thoughts?
I mean, after last year, personally, I'd like to have East Hamilton.
Absolutely.
I feel like we owe them something, but we haven't. They're both pretty good teams, so we haven't really looked that far ahead. I know they're athletic, but we'll worry about that next week.
Yep. And after tonight, that all the smoke will clear. We'll know what the playoff picture looks like. We wish you the best of luck tonight, Coach Rathbone. Thank you for joining us for the Coaches Preview Show tonight. Page versus Marshall County for the Region Championship. We'll see you next time.
Bricks. Sturdy, heavy, hard, smooth, rough, narrow, wide, ignored as ordinary, yet formed with ancient skills. Bricks offer security without aggression. White to black, rose to cream to gray, touches of purple, magenta, vermilion. The history and moods of earth are revealed by their presence. Used for strength, yet brittle, bricks shed chips when tumbled, but last centuries stacked tightly. They stand steady, offer the pleasures of earth, a sense of time, rarely intrude, simply wait for the observer's eye.